Hi, I'm Joan Newcomb, and today's morning musings is expectations. I'm doing a series of daily morning musings, and I'm using posts to my blog, Adventures in Density and Effort, as inspiration. Now, I wrote these a while ago, and the world has completely changed since then. So if I encounter anything that is out of date, I will give you the most recent information. At the end, I will summarize the topic based on what's going on in the world today. I also have some special offers, so stay tuned to the very end to see what they are. Expectations. The moment I came up with today's topic, a mischievous side of me emerged. Don't send out a blog at all. Write something outrageous. Do something unexpected. I think it's my expanded self giving me the antidote to expectations. I've been writing about the roller coaster ride with my mom that I've been on since April. First, she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Then it became necessary to drop everything and be with her. I can't really say that I've moved since I've been living out of two suitcases since June, and I wrote this in September of that year. A month ago, she fell and fractured her pelvis. We ended up in the hospital for 18 days. I said we because with Alzheimer's, she couldn't be alone. A cancer patient knows where they are and why they're there. An Alzheimer's person is constantly surprised by everything. Why can't she roll out of bed in the middle of the night and pee in her chamber pot? An Alzheimer's person won't know to ring the call button and wait for a nurse to show up to help her to the commode. In the hospital, they discovered a spot on her lung and did a biopsy. Actually, they did many CT scans, x-rays, an MRI, and then a biopsy. They love their machines. The results weren't in before we would discharge, and I decided not to find out right away. I didn't want to get on the cancer roller coaster until after she'd recovered from her fracture. So I discover I do okay as long as I don't have expectations. When I've gotten really pissed off with siblings, it's because I expect them to get it and to come through for me. However, they're not here, so how could they really know or understand? Expectations just make things more difficult. I'll get upset with myself for not being upset. And just because I'm psychic, just because I've had decades of personal growth, just because I've lived through challenging times before, I should breeze through this. Expectations are perfect pictures. It's viewing the experience through lenses of perfection and then judging the hell out of it because it doesn't match. I am not a natural nurturer like my mother was. I was always more of a trailblazer mom. I'd spend money taking my kids on trips, giving them adventures and life experiences rather than on material things. I'd encourage their independence and let them go on their road trip through life while their dad would bake them cookies for care packages and phone every day. So here I am being my mother's caretaker, and I still want to charge ahead and take her with me. It's ironic since Alzheimer's makes one's world smaller and smaller. But I'm the right person for the job. It was interesting bumping up against the hospital's expectations. They were used to injured and medicated patients, not someone who could walk to the nurse's station, question every medication, and protest unnecessary interruptions. Jesus, why don't they let patients sleep? Isn't it necessary for their recovery? My mother's going to need an advocate and defender as much as a healer. But who knows? We'll find out the biopsy results next week. Could be nothing. Could be something. The next steps will unfold from there. This week, catch your own expectations. Turn them upside down and inside out, and then see what happens when you do. So that's very interesting to read the snapshot of that period of time. They found out she had lung cancer, and we tried targeted radiation laser therapy, which didn't work because she wouldn't stay still. And when they did the follow-up test, there's just massive amounts in the pleural fluid. And then the oncologist wanted to try her on some chemo drugs, one specific one, which was identical to the one my father, who also had lung cancer, was on, except my father didn't have dementia. He knew exactly what was going on. He knew how to handle the side effects. And so for me, after a lot of deliberation and talking to different people, specifically the one of the nurses that was on the team that was sent home with her from recovering from her pelvis happened to also work in an oncologist's office. She finally said that it would be inhumane to put a person through the side effects of these chemo drugs when they didn't know they had cancer. I also looked at the bigger picture at the time that my mother already had a fatal disease. It was Alzheimer's, and I had been going to these groups, seeing through the people there the effects of late-term Alzheimer's was a terrifying thing. So I finally came to the decision to put my mother on hospice and hunker down and stay there and midwife her back to spirit, which she took a long time doing because I wouldn't let anybody tell her that she had cancer, and I wouldn't let anybody tell her that she had Alzheimer's, because both things would piss her off, and then she wouldn't remember why she was upset or pissed off. So she really enjoyed herself for the next 11 months. And it was interesting. My youngest brother pulled through for me, because his wife would make him drive down every long weekend to give me a break. And I gave my other brother, who was nearby, a pass. He didn't show up during the whole thing, but he was the executor of the estate. So when she passed, that's when he really had to kick into high gear and handle all the legal stuff. And I have to say, the only person I haven't really fully forgiven is my brother in Seattle, which he and his wife were the reason why we didn't move back to Seattle. There'll be a blog post about this coming up in a month or so, because they were pretty oblivious. But here's the thing, you can't expect people to be anything other than who they are. And once you can let go of those expectations, or at least set them aside when you're interacting with them, life becomes a lot easier. And I have a feeling a lot of people can relate to aspects of this, especially now we're in a really fractious time of having relatives who have different political beliefs than we do, who have drunk the Kool-Aid, or who are clinging to the political party of their youth, even though the political party is completely changed. And there actually is no talking to these people. Makes me realize I need to stop having that argument on Facebook with my cousin, who I've never met, but whose dad was one of my mother's favorite younger brothers. What this all comes down to is stepping back, keeping the focus on yourself, and operating as consciousness, moving forward in your life. And when you do that, amazing things happen and the world transforms for you. And sometimes people around you transform as well, because you're in a new parallel universe where they are completely different people. So if you like these videos, please click the like button and subscribe. And that way you're telling YouTube to share this far and wide and get this out to someone who really needs to see this video. And if you want a free sample of one of my consciousness techniques, click on the link below to the skybox technique. It'll give you an expanded perspective of what's going on in your life today. And if you want some manifestation techniques, Manifesting Money and Miracles is my self-study course where you can easily and effortlessly learn to create amazing changes in your life. And if you want to know more, my website is joan-newcomb.com. There you can learn about my individual sessions where I take a look at you as consciousness and what's going on in your life today, and then I can answer any questions that you have, whether it's about relationships, love, money, work. If you're moving, I also talk to dead people, and it's all recorded just for you. And if you want to learn how to navigate your life as consciousness, Manifesting Money and Miracles is a great preparation for my coaching program, where I work with you one-on-one and give you specific consciousness techniques so that you can transform your life. So go to my website, joan-newcomb.com, and I'll see you tomorrow in another Morning Musings.